Crap. Yes. Hey.
Hey. Are we on tonight, or are you?
Yeah, I'm already on.
Okay.
I already started.
Yeah.
Just wait for you guys to.
Yeah, we're done.
Making sure you're. Yeah. I'm just trying to do the sharing. Trying.
Okay.
Yeah, Talk Studio's open. All right. I'm just trying to. No, I already got that down. Like 2 minutes. Trying to get the hearing done.
Mm-hmm.
How was the help desk?
We talked about everything but computers.
I handed you a topic.
Everything but computer. No, Gilbert talked about some cybersecurity. We talked about cybersecurity, and but yeah, we were talking about the new show coming up, and Model Citizen, and
I am absolutely in love with that name. Like, I like it more than I probably should. It's just I like it.
It's kind of like a slight on what's coming up in Project 2025.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
It's cool because I get to reconnect with all my friends I see them on Facebook every so often. I just don't know what they're doing now. Like Mike Scott and Tony Hardy, and
Oh, there he goes. He's
I don't get all my friends and stuff.
No, I'm kidding.
So
I'm really tired. I'm in a bad way.
how you feeling today?
I mean, generally speaking, I feel a lot better. Oh, crap. Maybe I should start. I feel a lot better, but I am so tired. I can't stand it. I'm so ready to sleep. I really am. That's all I want to do is sleep. Let's kick this kid off here. We are connected. Or you could play. There we go.
Kennedy, 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 Kennedy. Do you want a man for president who's seasoned through and through, but not so doggone seasoned that he won't try something new? A man who's old enough to know
and young enough to do.
Well, it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you. But it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy. Do you want a man with spirit who is not afraid to fight?
A man whose record shows that he will fight for what is right.
A loyal man who'll bring the job a fresh new point of view. Well, it's up to you, it's up to you. It's strictly up to you. 'Cause it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me.
Kennedy, Kennedy, Kennedy.
And do you deny to any man the right he's guaranteed to be elected president, no matter what his creed?
It's promised in the Bill of Rights to which we must be true.
So it's up to you, it's up to you. It's strictly up to you. And it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me.
Kennedy, Kennedy, Kennedy.
Do you like a man who answers straight, a man who's always fair? We'll measure him against the others, and when you compare, you'll cast your vote for Kennedy, and the change that's overdue. So it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you. Yes, it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me. Kennedy, 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 Kennedy,
Welcome from my humble second bedroom here in the Saucon Valley, part of the Lehigh Valley, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, part of these United States, or what's left of them, North American continent, Western Hemisphere, on this planet Earth, the only one we have, third rock from the sun, in the Terran solar system, part of the Milky Way galaxy. This is TKE tonight for the 19th of November, 2024. I am probably over obsessed with the passage of time. I find it just, it's kind of just crazy that we are roughly two-thirds of the way through, well, we are basically, yeah, we're two-thirds of the way through November. It's insane to me. I don't know what to say about it. It seems crazy that the year has gone this quickly, especially a year full of so many different things, and so many different events and so many different historic happenings. It just seems very, I don't know. It's just kind of, it's a thing. I don't know what to say about it. It's a thing. It's a big deal. So welcome. You are watching and listening to TKE tonight for the 19th of November, 2024. Very nice to see and hear all of you. You can watch us live right now on the Facebook groups of, I think this mic might be dying. I think I might be losing it. I feel like I have to really get on top of it more and more all the time. I think it might be wearing out. Then again, we got 5.5 years out of it. I mean, maybe that's not so bad. I didn't pay too much money for it, down to slight percentages of a penny a day for what we've gotten out of it. But anyway, you are watching us live on the Facebook pages of Ghost Claw Productions, the TCP Media Group, Our Revolution Pennsylvania, my own personal Facebook, Jeff Kennedy, and of course our home group Facebook page for all things surrounding TKE tonight and the Kennedy Effect. And that, of course, would be That Other Side of Information. That Other Side of Information. That is also the name of our YouTube channel, That Other Side of Information. We are live on Twitch right now, Jeff R. Kennedy, and we are live on LinkedIn at Jeff Kennedy as well. The audio of the program blasting around the globe via GCPR, Ghost Claw Productions Radio. GCPR.live is the website. It is recently redesigned by Gilbert, and it is absolutely fantastic. It looks just great. I mean, stellar. Like, I wish I had that kind of skill. I didn't even have the skill to think of the way he did the page, let alone do the page. But it's great. It's super, super easy to use. The graphics are lovely. It's easy to read. Just check it out. You can find our schedule there. You can find where we are where you can watch and listen. You can read bios of all the different hosts and synopses of all the different programs. Just check it out, please. I don't want to say become a member. You can't become a member of a website necessarily, but I mean, become part of the family. Check out the website and let us know what you think about it. Also, there's a real neat opportunity there, to be honest, to become a tester, if you will, of the app. And we have Gilbert has actually managed to get together an Android app, and you can go to our website, click on this, I guess, banner. I guess you call it a banner, right? Is that the right word for it? Click on that, and you can join the folks who are helping us test that app. And that'll be a big game changer for us if that app, well, I know it's going to work. I just hope it works the way we intend. I hope it works the way Gilbert intended it. He wrote it. But that said, it's meant to be a very simple app to use that you download it, you tap it, you open, you listen, period, end of story, no money, none of that stuff, very much like the 101 app. But you can test it. You can help us test it. You can help become part of the testing group. You can tell us what you think of it, see how it works, all that fun stuff. It's right at our website, gcpr.live. Phone line will be open a little bit later in the program. He said inquisitively, because did I turn it on? Yes, I did. That's nice of me to do my technical parts of the program. Every now and then a blind squirrel finds a nut, and I got my work done. Let's get straight into the news, shall we? Really two big items that I wanted to get to tonight. And I'm going to start to break into the our first the topic, if you will, by visiting and reading what is at least the top of my feed on Blue Sky, which I highly recommend. I like it more the more I use it. I like it more every time I open it. It's everything that Twitter was supposed to be, and everything actually it was before Musk got his white apartheid hands all over it. That one got George smoking. I must have done something. I wish I could remember. Why am I blanking who this gentleman is? Because I know I'm going to get his face. I don't suppose I can search this fast enough. This is really bad radio. I hate asking George to search everything for me. Right, I think he's the Polish Prime Minister, if I'm not mistaken. Or former, yes, he is. That's what I thought. I got one right. At the very top of my Blue Sky feed is a post from a group called Republicans Against Trump. I don't think it should shock any of you that I'm a member of that following it. The post reads as follows: Poland's prime minister reminds the world that Putin will not stop until he is stopped. Slava Ukraine. And then a screenshot of a tweet, sadly, by Donald Tusk, the Prime Minister of Poland. 1,000 days of Russian aggression. 1,000 days of Ukrainian heroism and suffering. 1,000 days of Polish aid and solidarity. By supporting Ukraine, we're moving the war away from our Polish and European borders. Let us remember that every single day. That is Donald Tusk tweeting. He is the Prime Minister of Poland. Because, by the way, if Ukraine falls, Poland's next. And if it isn't exactly next, it's certainly on the hit list. Let us also remember that Poland is a full-fledged member of NATO, a group that Trump would like to pull this country out of? And if they are attacked by Russia, will a Trump administration honor Article 5, which states that an attack on one member is an attack on all? I can tell you where Trump will not attack, because no Russian army has succeeded there in history that I can recall. Randall is a history professor. He will correct me, as he should. The Russians have never taken Finland or Sweden, and they won't now either. Now that both of those countries are full-fledged NATO members and have dramatically expanded their militaries since the invasion of Ukraine. But Finland shares a very long border with Russia. I believe it is several hundred miles long. But anyway, I digress. The reason I'm getting into all of this is this story. Actually, why don't I pick the phone up and use this fancy stand that I keep saying I have, that I thought I was so smart for buying. Let's get into this story from the Associated Press. Dateline Kyiv, Ukraine. This is written by Hannah Arahova and Ilyana Novikov. And I just about guarantee that I didn't pronounce those correctly. So, ladies, my deep apologies if by some stretch of the imagination the butchering of your names should reach your ears. My apologies. I did the best I could. I hope it was close. Headline: Ukraine fires several U.S.-made long-range missiles into Russia for the first time. The story begins. Ukraine fired several American-supplied longer-range missiles into Russia, officials said Tuesday, marking the first time Kyiv used the weapons that way in 1,000 days of war. Did anyone today, by the way, remember or know that we're 1,000 days into this war? I did not. I'm not necessarily proud of that, but we're 1,000 days in. And Ukraine continues to defend itself and continues to throw bodies into combat, while the Russians say to rabble about using nukes and beg Kim Jong-un of North Korea for troops. Let me return to the story. The use of the Army Tactical Missile System, known as ATACMS, came as Russian President Vladimir Putin formally lowered the threshold for using nuclear weapons, opening the door to a potential nuclear response by Moscow to even a conventional attack by any nation supported by a nuclear power. That could include Ukrainian attacks backed by the U.S. The prevailing winds across the European continent flow from west to east. Ukraine, let me try that again. Russia can use its nukes in Ukraine, but it will take the fallout. Ukrainians will take some of the fallout. Russians will take another large bit of the fallout. Every time something goes a little bit wrong for the Russians in this war, every time the Ukrainians show that they will not back down, a man who is increasingly acting like a spoiled child, like the kid at the grocery store riding in the cart, kicking and screaming because mom won't get him a candy bar. Putin starts talking about nuclear weapons. He has shown he has no concern for the population of Ukraine. He has no concern for its infrastructure, for its cities, its buildings. He's willing to flatten Ukraine in order to take it. But I don't think he's ready to irradiate it. He still needs Ukraine as a crossover piece of land for gas pipelines from Russia and from Ukraine, for that matter, into Western Europe. He wants Ukraine's grain fields. Wheat from Ukraine feeds most of Africa. Not just any individual African nation, but most of Africa. So every time something goes a little bit wrong, you'll notice Putin didn't talk about lowering the threshold for nuclear weapons when 10,000 North Korean troops went to his country. By the way, a good number of those troops, not by any means 10,000, but a measurable number of those troops have already snuck away and defected away from North Korea. The North Korean officers are worried about their troops because apparently they can now get online. They can now use computers and the internet. Many of them are using it for, shall we say, adult entertainment. And I don't mean that as a joke. I don't mean that as a 13-year-old boy joke. It's the truth of what Ukrainian and American and Western intelligence is telling us about what the North Korean troops are doing in Russia. Many have already fled. They have defected. Others are just watching a lot of porn because that's not allowed in North Korea. They're using computers and smartphones, which they're not allowed to have either. It's just kind of the truth. I'm not trying to be giggly or dirty about it. It's just what Western intelligence has reported. This is what it is. Got off on a tangent there, didn't I? But anyway, let me return back to the article. A Telegram channel affiliated with the Ukrainian military posted a video Tuesday that says it shows U.S.-supplied ATACMS missiles being fired from an undisclosed location in Ukraine. The Associated Press could not independently verify the date and location the video was filmed. According to a U.S. official, Ukraine fired about 8 of the missiles, and just 2 were intercepted by the Russians. The official said that the U.S. was still assessing battle damage, but that the missiles struck an ammunition supply location in Karachev, a city of about 18,000 people in Russia's Bryansk region. The official spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss intelligence assessments. The developments marked a worrying escalation in the conflict, which has repeatedly ratcheted up international tensions. U.S. officials recently expressed dismay at Russia's deployment of North Korean troops to help it fight Ukraine, while Moscow seized when Washington eased restrictions on the ATACMS in recent days. The 1,000-day mark has magnified scrutiny of how the war is unfolding and how it might end. Amid signs that a turning point may be coming with U.S. President-elect Donald Trump entering the White House in about 2 months' time, Trump has pledged to swiftly end the war and has criticized the amount the U.S. has spent on supporting Ukraine. Unlike nearly all of the other issues facing this country, this is one thing that Trump himself appears to have a plan to address. I have no doubt when Trump says, I'm going to end this war, I think he believes that. I think he might be right, but it's the way he's going to do it. And again, I'm not making anything up. I'm not pulling anything out of the air. We're only using what Trump himself has said. He wishes to end all U.S. financial, humanitarian, and military support to Ukraine. He believes this war will end when Russia takes the entire country. And he thinks it'll just be over then. Now, one thing that billionaires love spending money on is the military. Military budget yearly is over $800 billion. Senator Sanders would tell you if you take all of the ancillary costs into account, not just defense contractors and not just subcontractors, but the subcontractors that feed the subcontractors that feed the contractors, it's more about $1.3 trillion every single year. The Russians, by the way, spend on their military about 1/10, about $80+ billion a year. So billionaires love the war in Ukraine. They love the Defense Department. They love multi-$1,000 MREs and $1,000 wrenches and all the jokes and things that we've heard about the Defense Department in years past. So I don't know if the billionaires themselves, the ones that own Trump, the ones who wrote Project 2025, will allow him to abandon Ukraine, because American defense contractors are making a killing. No pun intended. Probably a really bad choice of words, actually. They're making a killing on this war. They don't want to see that stop. Let us remember what the Biden administration has done, by the way, in large part, not 100%, but in large part. The arms that they have shipped to Ukraine are older arms. They are arms that quite literally might expire. You might think to yourself, how does a missile expire? Well, there's still a chemical reaction going on inside the fuel chamber, right? The explosives in the warhead have a shelf life. And as we send these things to Ukraine, new armaments are built, are contracted, paid for, and built to replace it. It's actually been a good thing for the economy. As twisted and sick as that is, it's actually been a good thing for the economy. So there's a chance that the major defense contractors, the billionaires that own them, and the billionaires that own now both houses of Congress by having Republican control, maybe they won't let Trump walk away from Ukraine because they're making money. But then again, billionaires hate to spend money either, and you need tax revenue to fund the Department of Defense, just as long as it's not their taxes. They don't want to pay any taxes. So I could see where there might be a bit of a conundrum, but Trump's plan to end this war is to let Russia take Ukraine. Period. He cares not for the slaughter and destruction that would entail. This is one thing he actually has a plan for. And I will also be very transparent with you, very honest with you. If Project 2025 mentions Ukraine, I don't know about it. I'm not going to tell you I have read every word of the 912 pages. I have followed, watched numerous, countless synopses of it, cliff notes, if you will. I know some folks who did read the entire 924 pages. They survived somehow. I have not, as you know from this program, even though I have done television as a news presenter in the past, I'm not always the best reader. So I didn't read all of it. If Project 2025 mentions Ukraine, I'll have to Google that one day before we talk and kind of do a little more of my homework. I just literally popped in my head that I hadn't really looked that up, and I probably should have. Let me return to the article. This is again posted today from the Associated Press. Neither Russia nor Ukraine can sustain the war for a long time, analysts say, though Russia would be able to keep going for longer due to its more vast resources. The article actually says vaster resources. Grammar question there, folks. More vast? Vaster? More vast. Ukraine's forces are under severe Russian pressure on the battlefield at places on the about 1,000 kilometer, 600-mile front line, where its army is stretched thin. Ukrainian civilians, meanwhile, have repeatedly been attacked by Russian drones and missiles. Ukraine claimed Tuesday that it hit a military weapons depot in Russia's Bryansk region overnight, though it did not specify what weapons it used. The Ukrainian General Staff said multiple explosions and detonations were heard in the targeted area around Kharkiv. I might have said that one. Karachev, sorry. I'm terrible with the Eastern European pronunciations. Asked at a news conference if Ukraine had struck the Bryansk region ammunition depot with ATACMS, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky declined to provide any details. However, he said, Ukraine has long-range capabilities, including domestically produced long-range drones, and now we have ATACMS as well. The Russians the Ukrainians are deeply and have always been since the beginning of this war in my thoughts. The Russians, of course, thought they would take the country. Putin thought he would take the country in a matter of weeks. Now we are 1,000 days in. Casualties on both sides are over 100,000 put together. The Russians have already had to expand their military draft. They have emptied the prisons, told the prisoners that if they fight in the front lines, they'll be set free. Their sentences will be wiped out, essentially. If, of course, they survive. I wouldn't hold my breath. I wouldn't lose any sleep about the Russians using nukes in Ukraine. They have to saber rattle in that way because they're not really having much success otherwise. But I also think that Putin wants to take the country. He doesn't want to take a radiation field. And he doesn't want the fall. Well, I don't think he really cares about the fallout flowing back on his own citizens. He certainly hasn't shown any care about them in the past. 8:30. We're already halfway through the program. This is TKE Tonight. The Kennedy Effect tonight for the 19th of November, Tuesday, the 19th of November, 2024. Following us from 11 p.m. I get this wrong every night. I do. I get this wrong every night. George stepped away. Of course.
I can't hear you with that mic. You gotta talk into it. Sorry.
Because I'm whispering, so I don't make
Okay.
angry.
9 o'clock to 11 is Hurricane Girls tonight.
Okay.
And
there you go.
then 11.
There you go.
And
See,
then
I went to our website to figure it out.
So
A beautiful website. Wait, now I'm getting. Why am I getting reverb? Why am I getting? Why? I know why. Never mind. Thank you. Never mind. It's because I opened the website. You know, it's interesting. As soon as I open the website, it plays. I don't have to click on anything. I don't have to ask it, which is strange. I was wondering why I was hearing the radio show back in my own head about a 10 to 12 second delay because I was dumb enough to open our own website. Anyway, following up, let me get back to what I was trying to do. He said,
sorry.
Following, no, you've because I thought you'd stepped out, so I opened up the website and I started hearing the show on my own here. Following us from 9 p.m. here on GCPR Live and many of these video streaming outlets, Hurricane Girls live from 9. T. Nathan, conversations with T. Nathan from 11. Thomas returns tomorrow morning to begin your midday or your midweek Wednesday from 8 a.m. with the sound of coffee. He brews it, he drinks it, he talks about it, you get to hear it. 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. You are watching TKE Tonight for the 19th of November, 2024. We are live right now on the Facebook pages of the TCP Media Group, Ghost Claw Productions, Our Revolution, Pennsylvania, my own Facebook, Jeff Kennedy, and of course our home group Facebook page for everything surrounding this program, That Other Side of Information, which is also the name of our YouTube channel. We are live there as well, and YouTube, of course, the very best place to go if you ever miss any of our programs. YouTube, the single best place to go and catch up on everything that we have ever recorded is right there on our YouTube channel, That Other Side of Information. We are live on Twitch, Jeff R. Kennedy, live on LinkedIn, Jeff Kennedy as well. I am now a member of Blue Sky. Please come find me. I think I am at, I don't know what my actual own handle, quote unquote, handle is. At That Kennedy Talk. Thanks so much. I stole my blue one. I stole the Twitter one because George was smart enough to make it. At That Kennedy Talk or search Jeff Kennedy, you will find me on Blue Sky, which I really do recommend. I think it's quite cool. I think it's a very nice, easy thing to use. Also, the audio of the program blasting around the globe via gcpr.live, our new website, the one that I just accessed about a minute ago and broke one of my cardinal rules and started hearing my own program back in my headset, 10 to 15 second delay. And did you see how monumentally confused I got? I thought the computer was crashing again. No, you're just the idiot that turned on the website and, of course, started listening to yourself in a delay. Not smart. Not smart. I want to try to, I don't think I can show this to you with any sort. Did you get on Blue Sky yet, sir? Did you do Blue Sky yet?
Yes, I was actually on Blue Sky before you were.
Were you?
Yeah.
Well, that's why it's so cool then. It was cool long before I got there. This is hilarious. I'm going to try to show this to you folks at home. For the radio audience, I'll describe it as best I can. This is a post on Blue Sky from the Lincoln Project from 3 hours ago. Name a better qualified doctor than Dr. Oz. We'll go first. It's a picture of Dr. Nick Rivera from The Simpsons. This is not the best way to show you things via video, and for our radio audience who can't see any of the video, it's a picture of Dr. Nick Rivera, and it says, "Hi everybody, we stitch and don't snitch. Any operation for $129.95." Oh my!
See, any other doctor who's more qualified than Dr. Oz? Dr. Kevorkian, Doctor Who.
Doctor Who. Absolutely. Dr. McCoy.
Dr. McCoy.
Easily more qualified. Let me get back to the Associated Press, to our second story, or the second. Oh, great. Oh, no, that just changed. Okay, where did it go? Actually, let me read this one. This was not on my list, but I'll read this one quick. If it ever opens up, because God knows the Wi-Fi in this house is so gosh, I think Mike down in Mississippi's got better Wi-Fi. Trump chooses TV's Dr. Oz to run Medicare and Medicaid. Wall Street exec Lutnick for Commerce. Dr. Oz, who is a legitimate medical doctor, actually a very renowned heart surgeon, but Oprah turned him into a TV star. I bet she's very thrilled about how that turned out. Has no government experience whatsoever. There's no administrative experience whatsoever. Oh, Donna mentions him better. George, Donna might be the winner. More qualified doctor. There we go. Excellent, Donna. Thank you so much. Told you. I've always told you guys, this program is interactive. I want your comments and questions. Well done. Absolutely. That's fantastic. Dateline Washington. Authors of the article are Fatima Hussein and Amanda Seitz of the Associated Press. President-elect Donald Trump on Tuesday tapped Dr. Mehmet Oz, a former television talk show host and heart surgeon, to lead the agency that oversees health insurance programs for millions of older, poor, and disabled Americans. Trump also selected Wall Street executive Howard Lutnick to lead the Commerce Department as he fills out his cabinet. Oz, who ran a failed 2022 bid to represent Pennsylvania in the United States Senate. Interesting thing about the way that's written. He ran to represent Pennsylvania. He does not now live here. He lived at the Jersey Shore. He used an address of, I think, his in-laws who happened to live in PA to run in PA. Has failed 2022 bid to represent Pennsylvania, I think, has been an outspoken supporter of Trump and in recent days expressed support for Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s nomination for the nation's top health agency, the Department of Health and Human Services. By the way, according to Project 2025, HHS, Department of Health and Human Services, doesn't survive. That is another one of the government departments that are on the cutting block, according to Project 2025. As the administrator for the Centers of Medicare and Medicaid Services, Oz would report to Kennedy. If confirmed by the Senate, he's not going to need to be confirmed. Trump is going to put these people in place without the Senate if he has to. We talked about that for multiple programs now. I'm not going to rehash it all. If confirmed by the Senate, Oz would... I lost my place. I can't hear the dumb because I lost my place. If confirmed by the Senate, Oz would be responsible for the programs Medicaid, Medicare, and the Affordable Care Act that more than half the country relies on for health insurance. Republicans have told you they want to repeal the Affordable Care Act. So there goes at least a third of Oz's job. Now let me read that to you again. More than half the country relies on for health insurance. Medicaid, Medicare, and the Affordable Care Act. Republicans actively want to take health care coverage away, or I should say health insurance coverage away. Health insurance has nothing to do with health care. It has to do with profits. They are banks. They are not insurance companies. They take in the premiums, they hold on to them, they don't spend them. That's how they make money. And they make interest on them and invest them into other things to make more money on them. They're banks. These are not health care companies. They're not interested in health except their own financial health. See what I did there? George knows what I did. Medicaid provides nearly free health care coverage to millions of the poorest children and adults in the U.S., while Medicare gives older Americans and the disabled access to health insurance. The Affordable Care Act is the Obama-era program that offers health insurance plans to millions of Americans who do not qualify for government-assisted health insurance, but do not get insurance through their employer. Oz has been accused of hawking dubious medical treatments and products on his defunct TV show. And during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, he pressured government officials to make hydroxychloroquine widely available, despite unresolved questions about its safety and effectiveness. Lutnick, meanwhile, will have a key role in carrying out Trump's plan to raise and enforce tariffs as Commerce Secretary. Lutnick is a cryptocurrency enthusiast and head of brokerage and investment bank Cantor Fitzgerald. Let me just on a side note here. Let me mention to you, granted, admittedly a tiny bit self-serving, I have invited, George is going to be bored by this conversation because he and I have talked about this so many times. I'm very, very good at repeating myself. But then again, radio, you have to repeat yourself. It's actually part of the training of hosting radio is repeating things so that they become memorable. I have invited now, I believe, about a dozen different self-proclaimed cryptocurrency investment bankers, brokers, financial planners, insert term you ever, whatever term you wish to use, blank, fill in the blank, who have solicited me. And by the way, that's fine. That's their business. You have to, that's how you make money. You get new clients. And no problem with that. But about a dozen of them now. They either send a friend request or they send a unsolicited messenger message or something along those lines. And I've responded to some of them, not many, but some. And and I've invited them on. I have invited them on the program to talk about cryptocurrency. Because after all, that's what they're trying to sell me. So I have invited many of them on. Again, over a dozen. And I begin to engage with them about, hey, how are you? It usually starts with, hey, how are you? Are you interested in investing in? And I'll say, well, no. And I'll tell them the truth. No, I'm actually not terribly interested because I don't have any disposable income. I spend 100% of what I bring in to stay alive and to pay my bills. Like most of you, like nearly 90+% of the country. I spend every dime I have just to cover myself. And then they'll eventually break in. Well, you only need a tiny fraction of money. You can do it in small installments. And we have these conversations, and they're pleasant. They're polite. And then finally, I will ask, look, I host a global radio program. We reach millions of people. Doesn't mean, by the way, that millions of people are listening, but we can reach them. We reach them. Or actually, we do reach them. If you add up all the members of all the Facebook groups, the YouTube, and all the places that we can get to, it is millions of people. I would be honored if you would come on our program and explain everything about your business. What is cryptocurrency? How do you get involved? I'm offering them free commercial time, basically, to pump their business, their office, their investment house, whatever you want to call it. And every time we get to that part of the conversation, I get ghosted. They never reach out. I'm using a fancy kid. See that, George? I'm using a fancy term that the kids use these days. I get ghosted. And I never hear from them again. And I will circle back to them and say, hey, what happened to that invitation? Hey, I thought you wanted me to invest with you. And they never come back. And I'm not saying that they're bad people. I'm not saying that they're trying to rip everybody off. There are people who desperately believe in cryptocurrency. Like they really buy, no pun intended, they really buy into it. They believe it. But none of them will come here and talk to you about it. I just find that fascinating. It's a very deep aside to what I was just reading. I got way off track there, but if you've been listening to the program, it's pretty much what happens on a regular basis. There was one other thing I wanted to read, and I think it went away. No, I did get to it, actually. I did get to it. It was about the newest cabinet appointments. And then here's an interesting one, too. As we enter the final, 10 minutes or so of the program. One of the post-mortem talking points that seem to be coming out of the 2024 election cycle as it reflects on the Democratic Party is that the Democratic Party was shoving transgender people down people's throats. That the Democratic Party was being sanctimonious and trying to instruct the rest of the country that trans people need to be treated fairly and treated like any other human being. Now, I think for most of us on this program, and the regular listeners especially, it kind of just seems like common sense that you treat a human being like a human being. And simply because you may not know them, understand them, or like the way they look, it's kind of beside the point. But then, and we've often talked on this program about the massive deflection and reflection that the Republican Party puts on top of Democrats. And I don't mean reflection like take a step back and examine yourself. I mean like reflection like hold up a mirror to point the light away from myself. Republicans love saying that we Democrats use the transgender issue as a way to divide people, and that we're the Northeastern elites because we actually think transgendered people should, I don't know, be allowed to live their effing lives the way they wish. By the way, Ted Cruz went to Harvard. Josh Hawley went to Yale. Tell me about the only Democrats are the Northeastern elites. But then, after all the deflection, after all of the reflection, deflection, after all of the postmortems on the Democratic Party, many having some validity, many just being bullshit peddled by pundits on TV with no basis in fact. What a shocker. I bring you this story. Again, this is from the Associated Press. It's written by Arnoush Amiri, Amiri. Hopefully I said that correctly. Headline: House Republicans signal support for proposal to ban bathroom access for first transgender member. I had only wished that I could. I wish I had seen this article sooner. Even though it was posted earlier in the day, it just didn't catch my eye till now. I would have asked Gretchen to be here. Dateline Washington. House Speaker Mike Johnson signaled support on Tuesday for a Republican effort to ban Democrat Sarah McBride, the first transgender person to be elected to Congress, from using women's restrooms in the Capitol once she's sworn into office next year. Quote, "We're not going to have men in women's bathrooms," Johnson told the Associated Press. "I've been consistent about that with anyone I've talked to about this." Johnson earlier in the day emphasized the need to, quote, "treat all persons with dignity and respect." Let me finish that sentence for the speaker. Treat all persons with dignity and respect, ... except when it's politically expedient for us to openly, violently at times, discriminate against very, very small minorities of people. At the absolute most, science and data will tell you, at the absolute top, 3% of the population is transgender. The number is more like less than 1%. But at the absolute max, it's 2 to 3%. The gay community is at a max about 5%. But because they're such a small minority, they're an easy target. When you're out in the garden and you find an anthill, it's easy to step on and crush all the ants. When you find a skunk, they're a little harder to deal with. Quote, this is an issue that Congress has never had to address before, and we're going to do that in deliberate fashion with member consensus on it, said the Speaker. A resolution proposed Monday by GOP Rep. Nancy Mace of the terribly, terribly equal borderline fascist Republic of South Carolina, my words, not the authors of the article, would prohibit any lawmakers and House employees from using single-sex facilities other than those corresponding with their biological sex. Mace said the bill is aimed specifically at McBride, who was elected to the House this month from Delaware. You have a member of the House of Representatives authoring a piece of legislation to openly target one other member. One in 435. I hope Representative McBride puts a porta potty outside her office. That's honestly how I look at it. I hope she puts up a porta potty outside her door. Let me read that to you again, by the way. This is a resolution proposed by Representative Nancy Mace of South Carolina. Mace said the bill is aimed specifically at McBride. Whether you approve of transgender people or not, whether you understand it or not, how about, to borrow a phrase from Governor Walz, how about minding your own damn business? Representative-elect McBride is not hurting you. She is not shoving her lifestyle in your face. She is living who she is. She is comfortable in her own skin. A pretty large percentage of us can't say the same. We literally cannot say the same thing of ourselves. But because she's only one, we'll target her because it's politically expedient and because the former political party known as Republicans is built on hate and division and anger and retribution and retaliation. And now, straightforward attack. So Democrats got raked over the coals for trying to, I guess you'd say, educate or at least talk to the rest of America about treating transgender people like, oh, I don't know, human beings. Because that's what they are. They're humans. But we're the sanctimonious ones. When a House member, an incumbent House member, writes a resolution to target one other member. Would we be happy about this if Republicans wrote a resolution to target Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez simply because she's Hispanic? Or has long black hair? Or was in her 20s when she was first elected? Would we be happy because if they wrote a resolution targeting Ayanna Presley because she has alopecia, meaning she doesn't have body hair. It's a when they tell you who they are, listen to them. We're in for 4 years of this shit, people. At a minimum, 4 years. That's if we even have an election in 4 years. Hell, we have an election in 2 years. But anyway, it's about all the time that we have for tonight. Following us immediately after on gcpr.live and many of the same video streaming platforms. What's the name of it? That's embarrassing. What's coming on after us?
Hurricane Girls.
God almighty, why did I just go blank? I don't know what I was going to say. I got to be honest with you. I really don't know what I was going to say. I went blank, and then I thought of something, and I thought, well, that's not right. That's not the right name. Terrible. Hopefully, Hurricane Girls are not pissed at me, although they would have a right to be. I went completely blank. I have no idea what that'll happen. Hurricane Girls follows us immediately on GCPR and many, if not all, of the same video outlets where you are watching us now. From 11 p.m., Conversations with T. Nathan. Thomas returns tomorrow morning from 8 a.m. with the sound of coffee. As we approach the holidays, keep an open mind. We're going to do a lot of cross-hosting of shows in the next few weeks. I hope to have the entire roster visiting us between Thanksgiving and, well, they can start anytime they want, but especially between Thanksgiving and New Year. To all of us at GCPR, to everybody around the Kennedy Effect, I am Jeff Kennedy. We've done all the damage we can do for one night. Hurricane Girls starts right now.